Football then and now, a fun look at football nostalgia and the modern game intertwined. Join us.
Good evening, this is Football Then and Now. I'm your host, Stuart Palmer, and I have got a guest with me live this evening. It's the host of Project Spurs, huge Tottenham Hotspur fan, Gary Ward, on the show for episode 105. How are we, Gary?
Well, I'm doing okay until we have to start talking about Tottenham Hotspur. Then it's a little bit more difficult. But outside of that, I'm doing really well. Thank you. It's good to be on the show. Thanks for having me. And Tottenham, eh? Bloody hell.
Oh, couldn't have gone any worse. And I think we've got to talk about Tuesday night first. The glaringly obvious thing was when Kinski was in goal. That was the first thing I looked at before a ball was kicked. Now, you know more about it. You know, it's your club, but I was just... warning signs were there straight away. Not that you were going to concede 3 or 4 goals as quickly as you did, of course, but that was a glaringly obvious thing that could have been wrong straight away for me.
Yeah, it is. I get the understanding of putting him in and giving him a game because there has been a lot of cries for a change in Vicaria and some of the mistakes that he's been making. However, he's been at the club for 14 months. He's played 13 times, and this is his 3rd game of the season, and he's going to go to a cauldron of a football club. I mean, Atletico Madrid, we all know, absolute juggernaut, and the stadium, and he's 22 years old, and you're throwing him in. It's difficult, and unfortunately, it is like this in any sports, I guess. You're either going to sink or you're going to swim, and unfortunately for him, he sunk, and it's disappointing to see for him. I feel for him. I really, really do. He's a young man. He's a good goalkeeper as well. It just didn't. This is a combination of just poor development in him over the last 14 months. Because if we were giving him regular games, or he'd even gone out on loan, perhaps probably would have been okay in a situation like that. But Champions League debut in front of a sold out, Metropolitana or whatever it's called, and difficult one for him, and it's a shame. It really, really is.
What do you think for the second leg? Is it just damage limitation? What are your thoughts going into that next week? I've got to ask you that.
Do you know what? He should have started the second leg, because if you're going to make this change, and you give somebody the opportunity, and you want to put a younger player in, and I get it. You should really start doing that at home, where he's got the familiarities of everything around him, the fans are on him. And do you know what? I'd probably play him. And because the tie is potentially over anyway. Our full attention needs to be on the Premier League. I would maybe speak to him and see how he feels about playing, but I don't think he will play again this season. I'm almost certain by that. But if it was me, I would have put my arm around him coming off. I'd have spoke to him straight after the game and said, right, next game, I'm going to get you in, because otherwise his career is shot and his confidence is shot. And sometimes you've got to play through that.
Definitely. Drawing parallels with Karius in the final from years ago. I was waiting for that when the clangers happened. It was like a bit of a different situation. But it was just sad when he just had his head down on the grass when that 3rd one went in, Gary. Horrible, horrific.
I felt really sorry for him. I do feel sorry for him, and the saving grace, it wasn't in a Champions League final, because that is the ultimate, oh my God, what has happened moment, really, situation. But I can only just keep echoing that. I feel for him. It is the sorry state of what our club is in at the moment, and it is another kick when you're down. We're on our knees, and maybe some of us saying we're even laying down at this point, and someone's just put an extra boot in on the way past, it kind of feels. And I hope this isn't the end for him. I think he needs to either play or he needs to go out on loan as quick as possible and just get some confidence back into him. Because when he first joined us, that game against Liverpool, he was outstanding in the cup, and I thought, we've got a really good, young, promising keeper here. But as I say, it's just the development in him has been so poor over the last 14 months he's been here, that you're either going to sink or swim. And as I say, Stu, unfortunately, mate, he sunk.
very horrible to see for a professional footballer. Regardless of which club he's playing for, let's take clubs out of it for a minute. Every fan would be gutted for him. But I've got to talk about Igor Tudor. I spoke at length on the show weeks and weeks ago when he was appointed. I knew he was wrong. I bet you had the same problem. It was a short-term appointment, of course, but still, looking at his body of work prior, he hasn't managed anywhere. The only time he's done longer than a year was at Hajduk Split in his native Croatia. Two spells at Udinese. He's in double figures in management. The Juventus run was not great. What were your thoughts when he was appointed and what he's done so far?
Well, I'm a big Serie A fan. I'm a big football fan in general. Serie A and the MLS, two leagues I watch religiously. And I wasn't overly impressed with him in Italy. And I've got some friends that do some Italian football podcast and some other friends that are really big Italian football fans. And they all said the same, or I'm not sure on this. And I'm going to read you a quote from our sporting director, Joang Lang. He said, Igor brings clarity. This is on his appointment. Igor brings clarity, intensity, and experience in stepping into challenging moments and producing impact. Our objective is straightforward: to stabilise performances, maximise the quality within the squad, and compete strongly in the Premier League and the Champions League. Now, that was on Saturday, the 14th of February at 12 o'clock. We are now on the 12th of August, less than a month later. We have had 4 games, 4 defeats, and conceded 14 goals. We've seen him ignore a 22-year-old goalkeeper walk off after he made the decision to play him. He subbed off Jed Spence, didn't acknowledge him on the way out, and Jed had to do that to him. There is so many rumours and being talked that he's training is not great in terms of his clarity. So this is our sporting director saying these are the things that are happening. He has made an impact. We've got worse. We've gone backwards. And I didn't think it was possible in the way we were playing, but we have gone backwards.
I've said about Thomas Frank going, and I thought it was silly, but it's your club. You know your club inside out and backwards. What were your thoughts about Thomas Frank going? What did you think? Because I thought it was a bit of a silly move at this stage of the season.
The timing was wrong. It should have been after West Ham. The West Ham game was the final straw. There's no disrespect to West Ham. All my family support West Ham. My daughter and my wife that's in the room next to me are West Ham fans, and all the in-laws. There's no disrespect to them, but that was the final straw for 90% of the fan base, because we could have got somebody in, albeit on a permanent basis if we had to, but we had January as an opportunity to make some changes and to bring some reinforcements in. It's the second year now of an injury crisis. There was clearing gaps and holes down our left-hand side that needed helping. And Vinay Venkatesham, the CEO, and Joang Lang, the sporting director, they gambled with this football club. They've made the biggest gamble that anybody has ever made at this club, in terms of keeping him, not bringing anybody in other than Conor Gallagher, selling our top goal scorer for the 3rd season in a row, and bringing no reinforcements in. They've gambled with the future of the club, and at the moment we are going to get relegated. And so I felt it was the right decision, but it was the wrong time. And then obviously the person they've brought in is, when you know this, Stu, and I'm sure there are thousands of people watching this, when you bring an interim or a caretaker in, that caretaker understands the club, has probably worked within the club, knows the players or has worked with some of the players, but most importantly, they know the league. He doesn't know any of that. After the game yesterday, he was talking about the goalkeeper, Kinski, and he couldn't even remember his name. He kept saying that guy. And he paused for a few seconds. He couldn't get it. It was that guy. This is what's going on. That you can't bring confidence into a relegation fight, as you know, as an Everton fan. You know, you're coming in and you've got to have a unity, even in really testing times. And that hasn't happened, and that was failing. And as I say, look, the decisions have been made. Ultimately, those decisions could be catastrophic to this football club long term. The amount of money we own is ridiculous, and it could be as I say, the two individuals that have gambled the future of my football club, and it's really worrying. It's really, really worrying.
It's horrible. It's horrible for a team as big as Tottenham, and I've been there. I've been there. Goodison, though, what I will say, we had the 12th man. I've said this to you, building up to this beforehand. I think when they've been walking out the stadium, when they've been walking out at Tottenham, the fans, what are your thoughts on that? I know they're annoyed with the ownership and stuff. I get it, and the results, but surely the fans need to be there. As bad as it's been.
Yeah, I mean, look, we get 60,000 just under pretty much every game, and there's been a few thousand, being generous, I guess, maybe a little bit more, that have been empty seats. That we pay an awful lot of money to go and watch football there. For me, it's about £100 a game. Some people are paying nearly £2,000 for a season ticket. It's huge sums of money. That's before travel, drink and things like that. For anything else, we pay an awful amount of a lot of money, and we're getting pretty much next to nothing for that. There was a game that I watched. I can't remember where it was now, who it was against now, but I went on a podcast and they asked me how it went. I said it cost me £100 for this game. We had 2 shots on target, so it's 50 quid a game, 50 quid a shot on target. I'm paying. This is what we're trying to look at here, and I can get the frustrations with the ownership, and that's a whole nother podcast on its own. But you are right. As a fan base, we are united. We are trying to get behind them as best we can. You look at the just the away support is fantastic. At home, there are a lot of travelling people coming in. It is unfortunately a stadium that is, how I best put it, advertised to people that come in for maybe a night out or on holiday and just attending a game, so that can be a little bit difficult. But you're right, we need to gather together, and I know that the game against Nottingham Forest there will be a big not protest, but there's been a big gathering outside the stadium when the boys turn up on the bus. They're going to have flares out, they're going to have flags, and they want everybody on the high road to get behind them and show them that this might be a job to you, but this is our life. This is this. I can't go anywhere else. I can't go and support someone else. You can go and play for another team, but I'm still going to be here. And please just fight for us. Fight for us. And you are right. We do need to get together, and I'm sure we will. We just need that one win. That one win. We desperately need it.
Again, West Ham and Forest haven't looked bad, have they, recently as well? And that's not to. I think you'll beat the drop, but the worry. I've been there, so I totally understand the worry on your end. Leeds aren't that far out of it either. They're on 31 points. Don't forget, they're only 3 points off the drop themselves. What you have got is a superior goal difference. I know it's -7, but you've also got the goal difference going for you down there as well.
It's an extra point when you really think about it, a goal difference, isn't it? That is helping us. It's a saving grace at the moment. As you say, Leeds are only 2 points above us. We could easily drag them into it as well. They've got Palace at the weekend, which is a difficult game. Obviously, we're away at Anfield, but look, Liverpool might have an eye on the Champions League the following week, whereas I don't think we're going to. Forest have got a difficult one against Fulham. And then, obviously, Man City are away at West Ham, and City are going for the league. So I don't want us to be reliant on other results around us. But last Wednesday, where what was it? Liverpool West Ham had won, didn't they? And then Forest got a draw against Man City. I hadn't felt as dejected as a fan for a long time. I honestly felt like someone just kicked me in the gut, because I thought, oh my God, we are 1 point. This is 1 point, and we can't focus on other people, but we have to keep an eye on them as well. And it is in our hands. Like we've got Forest coming up, we've got Leeds, we've got Wolves, we've got Sunderland, Brighton, Villa, Chelsea, and then you've got you boys on the last game of the season. So there is a possibility we can get out of it, and we have to beat Leeds, we have to beat Wolves, and we have to beat Forest. If we win those 3, I think we're going to be okay.
What are your thoughts on Archie Gray? I think he plays a number of positions. I feel for him, again, outside looking in. I don't see every single game that the full 90 minutes are over. I just feel that lad, he's been put from pillar to post since he's signed for you. What are your thoughts on him? It'd be good to hear your thoughts on Archie Gray.
I think he's probably one of the very few that could have his head held up at the end of the season. He gives everything. Some games, obviously, I'm in the stadium for every home game. There are games where he physically takes his boots off and you can see he can hardly walk off the pitch because he's just given every ounce that he's got. There isn't many in there that I can say that are doing that. He's so versatile that actually it's sometimes a little bit of a negative because he just keeps plugging holes, and he needs to, he's now 20. Today was his birthday. He needs to be able to. He needs the regularity in that one position, but he is so versatile. For me, he's a future Tottenham captain. If we can keep hold of him, he is a captain. He's already been, like Dominic Solanke came out today in an interview and said he is a leader in the dressing room. At 20 years old, and around World Cup winners, people that have played at Paris Saint-Germain and all sorts in World Cup finals, and he has been seen as a leader, and he's a very, very strong character, you can see. So I'm a big fan of his. I'd like to see him play more in his natural position, but it is very good that you've got someone that is as versatile as him.
Definitely. I know it's been bad, Gary, but who else has been okay and has had an all right season amongst all this trouble?
Oh, well, at the beginning, it wasn't overly too bad, but the injuries have just been catastrophic. We've had some games where we've just had 11 or 12 fit players, it's been worrying. I think Richarlison, because of his being in and around a relegation fight before, obviously with yourselves and Watford, you can see the kind of a leadership in a way, as oddly as that sounds, that he's working his balls off for it, and you can see that in him. I must admit, I will scratch to say who I think is putting in regular performances. Maybe Pedro Porro, but he's played far too many games, which has then affected his injury. He then got injured, and will affect his overall performances. But there has been very, very small. Far between. I think Archie, as I say, was probably the main one that could probably leave at the end of the season with his head held up, knowing that I've given everything to this club.
Definitely. Richie, I'm gonna be big on Richie, and I was gutted when he left. Obviously, we had to sell. We were in the predicament we were in financially. So look at the players we sold. I was at the game. I was at the 2-2 draw a couple of seasons ago when he scored. I was at Goodison for that, and muted celebrations, of course, out of respect. But I think he's been really, really good for you. But again, outside looking in, and I am biased because it's Richie. But just extending on Richarlison for you, again, playing up top. Again, I would have probably started Solanke the other night. But what do you think?
I have a love-hate relationship with him, if I'm honest. I don't think he's technically good enough to be where we want to be as a club. That's not being disrespectful to anybody else. As a striker, he struggles with his back towards the goal. Back facing the goal. So if I've got two defenders behind me, I need to be strong in terms of holding onto the ball, but he needs to be able to win a cheap foul, take some pressure off of the play. If the ball's moving back and forth, your striker, be it a lone striker, needs to be able to get hold of the ball first, but also win those tackles just to calm things down. He struggles with that. Now, I think he's better with somebody. If it's in a 3-5-2, as it was in the Super Cup, he played up front with Kudus. He was good because he's with somebody and he can play off them. I definitely feel he needs someone to be able to play off. But equally in the Europa League Cup final, he played on the left wing. I actually thought he was one of our better players. He just gave everything. And the position we're in now, he will give everything. I sit about 5 or 6, about 10 rows behind the dugout, and he'll warm up in front of me. He just doesn't sit down. He wants to be on that pitch and make an impact. And I want people that are going to do that in the predicament we're in. But I do have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with him, purely because I don't think he's... if you'd have said to me, Gary, in 10 years' time, you're going to have Brazil's number 9 playing up front for you, I'm going to be like, oh my God. But we've got who we've got, and it's frustrating. He's a frustrating player. But I know in the situation he's in now, I'd be throwing him in because he's been in this, and he's gonna give you everything he's got, and you can see that in him. I just don't think he's got what the next stage we want to go to, but we are so far from that stage at the moment that we shouldn't even really be thinking about it. But yeah, he's an interesting character, let's say the least.
It was the rolling about on the floor that used to do my head in. When he's down, come on, mate, just get it, for God's sake. But that's him, that's part of his game. But I do echo your sentiments about the left side, because that's where he predominantly played for us. You know, that was
I think
his
he's
position.
better there.
I fully agree, mate. I fully agree. But he's an enigma, if nothing else, that man. But yeah, Gary, we were talking about the other games there, of course, affecting the teams, the 4 sides that are battling it out. Of course, we've got to say Wolves have gone, you know, as good as Wolves have been in more recent times. But yeah, just what score prediction for you guys up at Anfield, if I could press you for one?
I mean, I would absolutely love to come away with a draw. And the reason I've got... I try not to ever back against us, obviously, but I mean, we haven't won a game in 2026, so it's difficult at this point. I just keep thinking Liverpool have, you know, they've 2 losses in the last 5 in the league, but also they've got a really big Champions League game. And I hope that Slot goes in there and goes, all right, the Champions League means quite a lot to us here at this football club, and they might prioritise that, and that might help us. Equally, when you are in a relegation fight, and you listen to interviews with other players, a lot of the players say playing away is better. It's less pressure on them. When you're in that fight, you can go to another stadium and you're probably not going to get booed, or you're not going to get like the frustration from the fans and feel it. And going away just takes a little bit of pressure off. So hopefully they can go there at the weekend, not feeling that. But it is going to be incredibly difficult because we're just absolutely battered with injuries. It's just so bad at the moment, injury wise. It's really concerning.
100%. I just want to move it away from Spurs for a minute. I'm going to ask you about my Everton. How do you feel about the job David Moyes has done in the last 13, 14 months at the club? What are your thoughts on that? And outside his perspective, mate, if you could.
The funny thing is, as I say, all my in-laws are West Ham fans and my wife. So I've been with my wife since I was 16. So that's 24 years. So I watched a lot of West Ham games. I said before he left West Ham the first time, they should never have got rid of him. And I said the second time, they should never have got rid of him. But if Tottenham aren't playing, I've probably got West Ham on in the house. But you know if either of them aren't on, who I've got on in the house is Everton. And the reason being, in 1997, this is going to be fun. 1997, I had a championship manager save, and I was Everton, and I won the UEFA Cup with Earl Barrett in goal because Neville Southall was injured, and my substitute goalkeeper was also injured. And from that time, that save, I've always kept an eye on Everton. So I always want Everton to do well. So when they've been traditionally struggling, I've never wanted to see him go down. I've always wanted to see him well. That I think it's going to go to I really hope it doesn't go to the last game of the season where it's we need to win to stay up, or you lot need to win to go into Europe. Obviously, I want Tottenham to win. That's no doubt about it. But I would love to see Everton in Europe. A great new stadium by the looks of it from looking afar. It's going to give you more revenue coming in and hopefully continue to build. But I think David Moyes is a fantastic manager. It didn't work for him at Man United, but look, nobody's worked there since Fergie left. But I think he's a tremendous manager. I think you're very lucky to have him. And he does get the best out of a lot of people. If he was available on the market right now, I'd absolutely love him at my football club. So I think he'd save us. He'd save this football club.
I got shot down last year at an audition that we're at. I can't say much more about the audition. And the guy was having it. And I saw the red light in my periphery on the camera. And he was barking at me. I said, a young, sexy manager won't work in the current predicament. this is before Moyes. Well, no, it was just after Moyes came in. Sorry, and he barked at me, went nuts. And I've been proven right about Moisey because I said it there and then, and he was very antiquated in his views about Moyes. He was going back to how he left. I said that's years. It's like 12 years, 11 years, or whatever it was.
What you got to think is the problem we've got is the media will have their favourites. Thomas Frank came into Tottenham. It was too big of a job for him. He couldn't grasp the magnitude of the size of our football club. He couldn't get the players united. He didn't understand us as a fan base. He spoke far too much about the other team in North London. He didn't understand us, but he never got any calls to be relieved of duty ever. And even now, coming out of being fired, I'm still reading people in the press saying that he's the most in demand manager and sought after manager. I'm sorry, we're about to get relegated through him, and they will have their darlings. If it isn't okay, he's a really nice bloke, and he brings us into a training ground and we can do all these things, or he's just so nice to us in our press conferences. That they will have an agenda. Igor Tudor has had more bad press in the last 3 weeks than Frank ever had at Tottenham. It's partly Thomas Frank's reason we're in the ship we're in now.
Yeah.
And David Moyes is an absolutely fantastic manager. I guarantee you. I mean, I'm streaming this, Tom, to my social media on my X account at the moment, and there is 104 people watching it. Guarantee you the 104 people watching it, if I said to you could have David Moyes now, those 104 people are going to go, yes, please. And he's a fantastic manager.
He was getting slagged off when we were on that bad run before. Obviously, we've had 2 back-to-back wins. Honest to God, if it had been any other manager, if it hadn't been Moyes, the criticism, if it was another manager now, say, and Moyes hadn't managed prior, it wouldn't have the criticism that he's had. But shame on them, because
everybody goes through a bad spell, and in a season, everybody. But look, you're 8th in the Premier League.
I'm so happy. They've got short-term memory loss as well. We were down there for how many years? I don't know what they want. They want this young manager, but it won't work just yet. We're not at a stage where it'll work. So they're gonna have to wait. I've got a comment here. I'm just gonna pull it up. It's my mate Paul Cornwall, big Man United fan, season ticket holder. Spurs are too big to go down, but I did say this about Villa, but I think you will be safe. So that's Paul Cornwall's comments about Spurs. He thinks we will stay up.
I hope so.
Definitely.
I don't think we're too big to go. I don't think any club's too big to go down. What I think is what's going on at the moment, though, is, I know for a fact that the ownership are absolutely petrified, terrified of going down. But do you know who else I think is terrified of us going down? The Championship, because we're an absolute juggernaut of a team, and you can only lose 15 million a year in the Championship. You can lose 150 in the Premier League, and the cost of our stadium and training facilities is absolutely huge. So what will have to happen? We'll have to have a big sale of players to accumulate a lot of money to sit in our bank account. If we don't get out in that first season, because if we don't go out in the first season, the financial impact of going down, I think it's about 260 million to us. You can't lose that, because we'll be a Leicester. We'll go down again, and so this could be disastrous, absolutely disastrous. But I don't think we are too big to go down. We are a terrible football team at the moment, absolutely terrible.
That's it. I just hope it doesn't happen for you, mate. I really, really do. A 60,000 seater in the Championship. I don't think we've not had that down there, have we? Sunderland at 40 odd thousand.
I think Newcastle's maybe the biggest.
50 odd, 52. Villa Park. Put Villa Park in there as well, but not a 60,000 seater. No way.
We're just under 63. So it's it'll be. It'll be the biggest story out of the Premier League's history, I think. I think it'll be bigger than Leicester winning it, because we're founding father of the league after all. And Yeah, just looking at the table now, just is depressing. It's really depressing.
I mean, look at the off the back of last year and how close it was. But then I know you had Europa League. I totally understood, and I knew Ange was going to go. You could just tell. You could just tell prior to that. But again, it's another season of it, and I know as good as anybody what it's like to be down there for a length of time. It's not too big. You're too big a club. I know that's obvious to say. You're just too big of a club to be down there. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But the thing with last year is, look, by February it was pretty much done, wasn't it? We knew Leicester, Ipswich and Southampton were down, and so we could have just said, like, we're putting all our eggs into the Europa League, and if we lose, we lose. It doesn't matter. But we finished 13 points off. We finished 17th, but it's 13 points off 18th. We are 1 point off it at the moment, as things stand. So there's a big difference.
100%. No, Gary, all the best to Spurs for the last 9 games of this season, of course. All the best for next week in the second leg. Let's see what they can do. Do you know what, though? The players need a manager who can put his arm around them as well. And that guy, off the back of what you've said and the way he's treated the players, there's a lot to be said about getting an arm around the players. And
absolutely.
You need a manager that's going to do that sometimes. You can't just be hard. You can't just be hard all the time as a football manager. I don't agree with that adage. No,
it's a man management skills at the end of the day. When you brought in as an interim, as I said earlier, there is the characteristics. You need to know the players, you need to know the club, you need to know the fan base, and you need to know the league. If you don't know all of those 4 things, you need to really understand the players quickly, and you need to be a man manager. This isn't about style. This isn't about implementing your philosophy or your formation, and coming in and saying, no, we're playing with a back 3. Okay, we haven't been playing with a back 3 for 2 years. Like, you're changing it. He's coming in and he's made all these changes, and he's trying to treat it what feels like a pre-season to understand the players. You can't do that. We don't have enough time. You've got to come in and say, right, it's 4-2-3-1. That's what you've been playing for 2 years, right? Okay, you play here, right? But it's not square pegs in round holes. And also then getting the players' backs up or not speaking to them. You can't do that behind closed doors anyway, but you can't come out in press conferences and be doing it. His first press conference says we will 100% be safe. His second one said the defence is rubbish, the midfielding is rubbish, and the attack ain't much good. That's not going to help them. And again, me and you sitting here talking about people that are earning 200 grand a week. They're human beings. They still need.
It gets put to the side. The mental toll gets put to the side because they're earning big bucks. Look at Dele Alli. Nobody actually knew what was going on with him until years later, and he's come out and said. And then they're all human. You got to have that human element to a player. I totally agree. Paulinho, sorry for jumping in. That was the other one. He was at centre back. I was like, oh my God! I can only imagine what you were like.
Trying to put square pegs in round holes because it fits your system. That's not. You can't be doing that. If we were sat here now and it was 9 games into the season, I'd be like, okay, that he's trying to implement his system. Not with 9 games left. You can't do it. You just cannot do it. You have to look at what's available to you and play within a formation that suits those players in their positions. Put your arm around them. Get some, do some bonding or something with them. It's worrying times because he's not doing that.
Not at all. Gary, I'm going to get you back on for some positivity on another episode about Spurs nostalgia because we've got to have a bit of positivity about your fandom, growing up a Spurs fan, your memories and stuff like that. So I want to get you back on because the namesake of this show, of course, is Football Then and Now. And we haven't had a lot of nostalgia in more recent times. We've had a lot of currents. And we'll have a bit of positivity when you come back on to talk Spurs nostalgia. And just all the best to Spurs. I just hope you stay up, of course. And 9 games to go. And just all the best for the rest of the season, mate.
I appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Football Then and Now, a fun look at football nostalgia and the modern game intertwined. Join us.